At first, it seemed like he'd just gone for a drive. A professor, a quiet man, no enemies, no reason to vanish. But when his truck was found abandoned on a desert road, engine running, wallet untouched, and a single red marble on the seat, everything changed. Then came the voicemail. For seconds of static and one whispered word, below. That was the last anyone heard from Charles Finley. 2 weeks later, a coffin was dug up in a construction zone. No body, no blood, just his clothes, his glasses, and a message carved from inside the wood. I got out once. I won't again. This isn't a missing persons case. It's a story about something buried that was never meant to be unearthed. And the deeper you dig, the darker it gets. May 4th, 2019. Tucson, Arizona. It was supposed to be an ordinary Friday for Charles Finley, a respected geology professor at the University of Arizona. He just wrapped up his final lecture before summer break, a class on sedimentary strata that ended with a laugh and a round of applause from his students. He was brilliant but humble, the kind of professor who stayed after class to answer questions no one else had time for. He didn't chase tenure. He didn't lecture from slides. He told stories. His favorite one was about a field dig in New Mexico back in 1997, an unofficial site he always said gave him nightmares. Most thought he was joking. He wasn't. That night, Charles never came home. By 7:15 p.m., he'd missed his dinner reservation with his girlfriend, Alicia Porter. At first, she thought he might have lost track of time at the office or gone out for a walk in the foothills like he sometimes did. But when he didn't answer his phone, she called again. And again. At 9:42 p.m., she drove to his place. Lights off. Truck gone. Front door locked. By 10:15 p.m., she reported him missing. At 11:03 p.m., her phone buzzed with a blocked voicemail. She pressed play. For seconds of hissing static. Then a breath. And a single word, barely audible, as if whispered from under concrete. Below. Early the next morning, police traced the ping from Charles's last phone signal. It came from a desolate stretch of road just outside Picacho Peak, a flat, wind-blown expanse of nothing. When officers arrived, they found his Ford F-150 parked at an odd angle on the shoulder. The doors were unlocked. The engine was still warm. His phone sat in the cup holder. His laptop bag and wallet were in the passenger seat. Keys still in the ignition. Everything intact, except for one thing. On the driver's seat was a single red marble. Perfectly round, smooth, glossy, resting dead center. There were no footprints, no tire marks, just open desert and silence. Charles Finley wasn't the kind of man to disappear. His life was built on routine. Coffee at 7:30 a.m., lecture halls at 9, sandwich at noon, research until 5, Alicia by 7. But after that voicemail, the red marble, and the missing professor, Alicia went back to his apartment to look for anything that might explain where he'd gone. Upstairs in the attic, behind boxes of old field equipment, she found something he'd never told her about. A hand-carved wooden crate. On the lid, Dig Site 34, New Mexico, 1997, unpublished. Inside, she found yellowed notebooks, dusty rock samples, a small leather pouch filled with marbles. Red ones, 12 of them, each labeled with a name. She flipped through the journal. Her heart began to race. Back in the summer of 1997, Charles was 20, working on a field team led by Dr. Andrew Merton, a professor of archaeology with a controversial reputation. He had a habit of ignoring tribal land boundaries and digging in sites marked off-limits by local councils. This particular dig site was located on the edge of sacred Navajo land near Chaco Canyon. According to the journal, the team was investigating anomalies detected beneath a collapsed mesa, believed to be part of an unregistered ancestral Puebloan burial chamber. Charles wrote about the moment they broke through the sediment. The air smelled old, like burnt wood and something else. Decay, maybe. We found symbols etched in the stone. Circles inside circles. And bones, not just human. Something with twisted legs. Unnatural. Then he wrote about the box. A small metallic container sealed with a resin-like substance. Inside, 12 red marbles. Each glowed faintly under UV light. They joked they were cursed, but one by one, each student pocketed one. Charles kept his. Within a month of returning home, one of the students, Tom Green, vanished while hiking alone in Colorado. His body was never found. No one made the connection. Then Annie Kells vanished outside her home in Flagstaff. Then Leo Martinez, who was last seen driving home from a night shift in Santa Fe. 3 students, all from Dig Site 34, all missing within 9 months. Charles's journal entries grew more frantic. I buried the marble in the desert. Dug 6 feet. No marker. I think it stopped watching me. Sometimes I hear whispering, just below the floor. I thought it was the pipes, but it's not. If I vanish, tell Alicia to look underground. 2 weeks after Charles disappeared, a construction crew working near Saguaro Estates, 20 miles east of Tucson, was excavating for a new foundation when their backhoe struck something hard. It wasn't stone. They dug by hand and uncovered a wooden coffin. Hand-built, chained shut from the outside with rusted iron links. Inside was a suit, folded neatly. Next to it, a pair of horn-rimmed glasses. No body. The glasses were Charles's. DNA confirmed it, but there were no blood traces. No fibers. The suit hadn't been worn recently, but the inside of the coffin lid told a darker story. Carved into the wood, rough, uneven, were the words. I got out once. I won't again. There were scratch marks along the inside wall. Deep ones, like someone had tried to claw their way out. Or in. As news of the coffin spread, Alicia hired a private investigator. She was convinced the red marbles were the key, and they were. Tom Green's abandoned tent in Colorado had a marble inside the sleeping bag. Annie Kell's father found one in her sock drawer years after she vanished, but thought it was a childhood toy. Leo Martinez's roommate remembered finding one in his car, cup holder, the morning he vanished. Each marble had turned up, always somewhere close. Always with no explanation. And always with the same faint, reddish glow under UV light. They weren't just trinkets. They were markers, or beacons. Alicia began digging into Navajo and Puebloan folklore, looking for any correlation to what Charles had described. She found a recurring theme in old oral traditions, burial sites known not for honoring the dead, but containing something beneath them. One elder, Thomas Nez, agreed to speak with her, on the condition that his face never be shown and his name never be publicized. His identity was later protected in case files. His words? There are places we do not open, places where the walls are not made of stone, but of memory. You do not take from them. You do not wake what's beneath. When shown a picture of the red marbles, Nez went silent, then said, "Those aren't for you. They're for it." Alicia returned to Charles's apartment and reread his final journal entry. It watches through the marble. I buried it once, but someone must have found it. Or maybe I never buried it at all. The next day, she began experiencing hallucinations, low humming under the floorboards, shadows that moved when she stood still. And on the 4th night, a single marble appeared in her kitchen sink. She didn't own any. She fled her apartment the next morning. She never came back. 3 weeks later, Alicia Porter was declared missing. In August of 2020, nearly a year after Charles's disappearance, his sister received a padded envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside was a flash drive labeled 34. The contents, a single video file. Grainy. Night vision. Charles's face lit only by a flashlight. He was in what looked like a tunnel, walls of packed clay, roots dangling like veins. His voice was trembling. "It's deeper than we thought." The chamber never collapsed. It expanded. "Something's down here. Something old. We didn't find a burial site. We found a prison." He moved the camera to show dozens of marbles embedded in the walls, pulsing faintly. I thought I could seal it again, but I was wrong. It doesn't stay buried. The footage ends with the camera dropping. A long breath, then silence. To this day, the FBI has not publicly commented on the Finley case. The dig site remains officially unmarked. The land was bought by a private developer who halted all construction after the coffin discovery. No new information has surfaced. No bodies. No updates. But across the country, strange patterns continue. A college student in Oregon vanished in 2021. Her roommate found a red marble in her pillowcase. A journalist in Utah disappeared after investigating a cold case linked to a 1990s excavation team. And most chilling of all, an email circulated among archaeologists in 2023 with no subject line. It contained a single word. Below, what do you think really happened? Was Charles cursed? Or did he dig too deep into something not meant to be found? Drop your theories below.